Hey everybody, I wanted to do a quick video on scumbling. This is a difficult video to do because scumbling is a lot about physical touch and just experiencing it, but I'll try to do the best I can. So the first thing you want to do is go through your brushes and pull out any brush that is very stiff, that is hard and firm, maybe you forgot to wash. We're going to want to use these brushes. Now, you need to have a monochromatic underpainting, and on my demonstration, I have my underpainting on the right and my image on my tablet on the left. I'm just mixing a color, and then I'm using this old, tired brush to kind of scrub a film of color on top of the image. So in this case, I'm doing a yellow-green color on top of both pairs. Again, this is hard to say with words. You just want to try your best to do it. There's a close-up. The underpainting should be able to be seen through. So I'm pressing really lightly with the brush and just trying to barely touch the top surface of the paint and deposit a little bit of paint. Sometimes it's helpful to dip your old brush into the paint and then wipe it off on a rag and then touch your canvas with it. You really want to try to minimize how much paint is on your brush. If you've ever done pastels before, using soft pastels, this is a similar approach where you're just doing a film of color. What you want to do is you want to look at the image and decide what to do. So with my pears, they're yellow-green. I started with yellow-green, but then they need more brown than that, so I mixed the brown, and that's what I'm putting in now. And it's nice because once you get the hang of it, if you have a good brush, it depends on your pressure, right? So if I need a lot of brown in an area, like on the edge, I can press down pretty hard. But if I just need a little brown, I want to try to softly press down. Now I'm going to go on to the green bottle. I have a black and white underpainting. You can have any color underpainting you want. And some colors are more transparent than others. I'm just using the colors pure as they are. Some people kind of like to mix this with a glazing approach where they would mix a medium in with their paint. But you really don't have to. If you have a good brush, it will do the work for you. So I put down a lot of green, and then I was able just to move it around with my brush. And I apologize for this video. I have a camera that's clipped to my desk, so every time I move on the painting, it moves the camera, so I'm so sorry about that. I hope you guys don't get seasick. I'm going to go on to the ivy. So I'm just mixing the green and I put it down. And we use that underpainting to come through. So the parts that were light before are now a light green and the darker parts become a darker green. Scumbling, this is what scumbling or dry brushing is, but it's kind of complicated. The exact definition of scumbling is putting a lighter color over a darker color. We're using it more as a popular definition. I'm going to add in some burnt sienna. We're using it as this dry brushing technique, but you'll notice that when you do this, it does tend to lighten the colors. Glazes usually darken the colors, and scumbling will lighten the colors. So like on my ivy leaves, they got a little lighter when I scumbled them. Now this is like a reddish color or something. So I'm putting down this warm color. Way too dark of a streak. But scumbling is really forgiving of an approach. Like I can easily fix that mistake there. It's not going to be that hard at all. So scumbling is good if you like to separate your drawing from your colors, just like glazing. And then it's also good if you're not the most bold person with color and you just want to slowly tint and work your way to the right color. So I'm going to have a hard time making this background. On the tabletop, I did like an orange overall. Then I went back and I just mixed a darker color for my shadows because when I scumbled, it lightened my shadows too much. This is just now burnt umber and white is going to be the main background. I tried the yellow and it's way too bright yellow. I could get turpentine and wash that off, but I'm just going to blend it in. Again, scumbling, it's very forgiving and we can just blend it all together, but it really depends on your brush. You need to have like a cheap, hard bristle brush. So I would suggest at the start separating them and then try one. If that's not working, try another brush, and you should find like a brush that'll work really well for this, hopefully. That looks good. Now notice again, where it's dark, it's still coming through, but if you don't really like it, usually you have to mix a darker color to put on tops because scumbling will lighten most colors. So I now have a mixture of burnt umber and ultramarine blue that I'm just scumbling on top. And it's also kind of cool because it's so light that you don't really have to let it dry so much, you know? You can just keep on scumbling and scumbling on top. Now I'm going back and I'm adjusting the color with pure paint, so I'm not really scumbling anymore, except it's kind of a habit you get into, and so I am scumbling a little bit. But if you wanted to use like defined brush strokes now, thick paint, this would be the time to do it. Usually in like Rembrandt painting, you can now go to a museum and look at it, although not now because they're closed because of COVID. But you could go to a museum and you could see that they'll have thick color in the lights and thin color in the shadows. So I'm kind of trying to do that in this painting where I'm going to go and just do thicker in the lights. See, that color's too dark, so I just mix a darker color. I mean, that color I first put down was too light, so I mix a darker green and just merge it together. I warmed that one up by adding a brown to it. It was a little too green. Again, you guys, this is very hard to say. Like, I'm trying my best to describe it with words, but this is something you need to try and use different brushes, try different brushes to see what works. It's all about the pressure you're putting on the brush. So you want very light paint on that brush and very light pressure as you just coat it all on the when it touches the canvas. And I'm using scumbling like glazing, like a middle step. So I had my underpainting, then I did scumbling on top, and then I'm going back just with regular painting and adjusting, although I'm actually scumbling this whole thing. I'm gonna warm up my pears now. I'll do the background, the tabletop a little bit more, and then warm up the pears. In art school, in grad school, I had someone that used to scumble all the time. And I would say, she's only scumbling, as jealousy over her painting. But now I think, that girl was a genius. Because again, scumbling helps us a lot. If you're having problems with color, scumbling helps a lot with color. Okay, that's pretty much it. I'm just doing final touches, trying to use a little bit of thicker paint in my lights. But after that, that's pretty much it, you guys. So try scumbling and see if you like it. Okay, thanks you guys.